They say the numbers aren't adding up, and they're trying to find a solution for the state's children.
The state legislature is considering a bill that would work to fix a racial imbalance in the juvenile justice system. In Kentucky, white youth make up 80% of the population, and African-American youth make up 10% in the state.
But when you look at percentages in the juvenile justice system, the numbers don't compare to the overall population. Justice leaders say the problem is called disproportionate minority contact.
For African American youth, the more restrictive you go, the worse the disparity gets. And for white youth, it's the reverse.
And to help us break down the news, Senator Whitney Westerfield joins us. What a pleasure to have you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So this bill, which was just filed on Friday, Senate Bill 20, has always been and has been for a while a big priority for you, right?
It is. This is something that was really highlighted by our juvenile reforms 3 years ago. One of the things that bill didn't address was disproportionality, and we see that that's a problem. We've got data in certain places that's a little incomplete and not consistent, but we see that it's there. In Jefferson County, for instance, and we've talked about some of those numbers before, the disparity is stark. In some cases, the inverse of the demographic populations of kids that are white and black, and that's just wrong. This should be a priority for everybody.
It seems like such a complex issue. Can we expect a bill in the legislature, if it's passed, to fix it?
I think so, and this bill doesn't actually lay out a whole slew of new policy initiatives. The biggest part of the bill is to collect the information we need so that the next General Assembly, whether it's next year or years from now, can look at this data and see objectively why we have disproportionality in the system, where the points of contact are that we can locate it, and how to eliminate it the best. This is really the bill that lays the foundation for future work.
And this is a bill also that's been circulating in some ways for a while, so a lot of legislators would know about it. Does that point to possibly easy passage?
I hope they know about it. It's a bill that I filed last year in the Senate. The expungement bill sort of consumed a lot of time, and so it didn't go anywhere. But we've been pushing it and talking about it in the Juvenile Justice Oversight Council group over the course of the interim. And now we're talking about it again, and I've sort of condensed some bills together. I hope it sees passage. And again, if we can just collect this data, that can really help paint a very vivid picture about where this problem exists and the different points of contact it exists so that we can fix that down the road.
When you take a look at the numbers and the disparity that Christy Stutler talked about there a minute ago, what does that tell you when you see those right in your face like that?
It's jarring. And when we've talked about it in the Oversight Council group and we've heard these numbers, it's just jarring. There's no other good word for it. To see that black kids are, as I said in the earlier piece, treated more harshly and more often, it's scary. And we don't know if that's happening at this point of contact or another, or whether it's an officer or a school teacher or a DJJ worker or a social worker. We don't know.
And we didn't get into that in our story that we hope you watch on WKYT.com, but there are different points of contact throughout the system, which is where you're trying to figure out where exactly this is going on.
The bill calls for each of those agencies to collect this data in a uniform way so that we can find out where it is and get rid of it.
Interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you both.
We know you're very busy. You can watch the full story by heading over to WKYT.com and click on the story, and join the conversation by leaving your comments. Let us know what you think.